nothing short of a debacle. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm WatchUK99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. Are you really surprised? Boy, what a brutal, and I'm being kind with that word, what a game this was that the New York Jets played today against the Buffalo Bills. Absolutely thrashed up and down 32-6 in Orchard Park. The Jets have now lost 3 straight games. They've now dropped to 4-6. But this was, I think, since the Dallas game, this was the first game where they were just outclassed, out-coached, out-executed, out-everything for 60 solid minutes. There was no hope. There was no optimism. There was no life. No nothing! Does this team not realize that its season has all but slipped away? That it is circling the drain, ready to go right down the dumper? And I gotta tell you, the more this week went on, the worse I felt about this game. Usually I'm the other way around. I tend to feel better as the week goes on, but it seemed like the more news came out, the worse things were lining up to go. Whether it was the Bills realizing that they had to make a change, that they fired their offensive coordinator, got rid of Ken Dorsey, brought in Joe Brady to help an offense that was still doing well, mind you, still performing, but just seemed to have a little issue with turnovers. They felt the need to make the change there. By the way, second straight week that the Jets have lost to a team where their offensive coordinator was making a season debut. If I'm Miami, I'm firing the offensive coordinator today, just for the Jet game next week. But when I heard Garrett Wilson was hurt, when I heard Michael Carter II was out, it just felt like everything was going against them. Buffalo is as healthy as they've been in a while. And then on the very first play of the game, when XavierGipson, boy, I'm really glad the Jets traded McCole Hardman to open up playing time for this absolute stiff. He had one great play, week 1. That's going to be his whole career. Gipson fumbles on the first play of the game. Definitely not the first time he's had a fumble on special teams this year. As soon as that happened, if you didn't know this game was over, you knew it was at the very least an ominous sign that it was going to be an uphill battle. That is about as reasonable as I could say it. But deep down, if you're a Jets fan for any decent length of time, you knew this team was never going to win this game because, let's be honest, the Jets never, ever overcome mistakes like that. Never, ever. And it goes on. Mekhibecton goes down, so now there are 4 starters down on the offensive line. And this offense, after cutting Michael Carter, after having the players-only meeting, boy, that was time well spent, the offense got worse. It's worse. Their first 5 drives, they ran 14 plays, gained 18 yards. I didn't know if the Jets were going to finish with more yards or plays. And this passing game, don't get me started. The best passer for the Jets this game was Thomas Morstead, the punter. I never need to see Zach Wilson again. He has not improved in any way, shape, or form. He makes the same mistakes again and again. Focusing on one wide receiver, not recognizing open receivers, holding on to the ball too long. On and on it goes. The Jets' high in receiving yards was breecehall, 50 yards on 5 catches. And I'll say this, Garrett Wilson, very good wide receiver. I'm glad he's a Jet, but he can't elevate the whole offense by himself. Very few wide receivers in the NFL can. Hell, Brandon Eccles, the quarterback, he had twice as many receiving yards as Garrett Wilson did in this game, thanks to that fake punt. Wilson, 2 catches, 9 yards, and his most recent fumble. My God, was this a disgrace. And the defense, I'll come back to the running game, but this defense, you know what? They were bound to finally break. They broke. one lousy sack, just 4 quarterback hits against a quarterback they have frustrated in years past. They had one lousy takeaway, and that was only because it was a Hail Mary by Josh Allen on the last play of the half. And I was screaming for Ashton Davis, lateral the ball! Lateral the ball! There was no time left, and when Davis didn't get in the end zone, you knew that would haunt them too. Because like we have said again and again, the defense and special teams need to play next to perfect games for this team to have a chance, because the offense is not even worthy of a high school offense! Now, at the end of the first half, they gave us a little tease. There was a little bit of hope. Jets have an 11-play drive, 84 yards in just 2 minutes and 18 seconds. They get their touchdown. They finally break their streak. Praise the Lord of 13 quarters, whatever it was. Right around 13 quarters. And then they pick off Josh Allen to close the half. So it's 16-6 Bills going into halftime, and I got to be honest, I wasn't feeling horrible at halftime. As much as the Jets had been outplayed in that first half, I said, hey, you know what? We might have created a little bit of doubt, but the Bills are starting the second half with the ball. The defense needs to make a big stop right here, get the ball back, and give this offense good field position, and let's make it a one-score game. The defense had to get off the field fast. And what do we see? 8 plays, boom, 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 75 yards. That leads to a 4th and 1, and Ty Johnson, 28 yards. We got to see him kill us again. Ty Johnson, this absolute stiff of a running back the Jets could get rid of for years. And he takes one to the house, and at that point, they were dead. The Jets come back 5 plays. They punt. 2 plays later, you see Khalil Shakir waving bye-bye to the Jet defense after Saucegardner just misses a pass breakup. Just a debacle. And then you had to watch another 25 minutes of just pure garbage football. There should have been a mercy rule. The game should have ended right there. And we've been hearing about all the new personnel changes, all the different things that were going to happen. You know, the Jets cut Michael Carter to put on Izzy Abanikanda. We didn't see Izzy on offense till 5 minutes were left in the game. Dalvincook only got 2 runs this game, one of which was on 3rd and 19. The run game hardly changed at all. It was up the middle for 2 yards, up the middle for 2 yards. Breece can't do anything behind this offensive line, which is on the level of the XFL. You know, a couple of things were good. You know, Alan Lazard only had 1 target in this game. CJ Uzama did not get a pass thrown his way. Ty Conklin, Jeremy Ruckert, they got more opportunities. That was encouraging as well. But the fact is, this offense was as bad as we've seen it, and it is just going to keep getting worse. Because at this point, this team has to be discouraged. Their spirits have to be broken after this 3-game losing streak against teams in the AFC. I can't see any way that this ever turns around again in this season. I don't see any way. But we look at these stats and just how stark it is. You look at first downs. The Jets had 14. The Bills had 22. Third downs. I talked last week. The Jets were a lot better on third down against the Raiders. 7 for 16, I believe it was. Did that carry over to the Bills game? No. 0 for 11. The Jets did go 4 for 5 on 4th down, if you want to put any stock in that. Total yards. The Jets had 155. The Bills 393 yards per play. Jets 2.9. The Bills 5.5. Rushing yards. The Jets 63. The Bills 130. Sacks. The Jets sacked Josh Allen 1 time. The Bills sacked all the Jets quarterbacks 6 times. And turnovers. 4 for the Jets, 1 for the Bills, and as I've said, that 1 turnover the Bills had was at halftime. And time of possession, the Jets 23:09, the Bills 36:51. This was an ass-kicking from pillar to post. And it wouldn't be so bad losing to Buffalo because they are a good team, they play well at home. But now that it's a 3-game losing streak, you know, I just... We are heading to another second half of a season which is going to be completely irrelevant aside from draft position watching. That is going to be it. All right, let's get into the 3 key plays of the game you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game. And we're going to stay relatively early in this game for the most part. 12:58 to go in the first quarter, so very early in the game. The Jets have the ball. The defense held the Bills offense after that just disgraceful fumble by Gipson. They hold them to a field goal. They're down 3-0. You settle for that. Now, it's the first drive for the Jets offense. They know they need to turn some things around after this last month, which has been completely inept. We heard about new personnel, new play call, just something to spark this offense. Well, they get a first down. Of course, that was on a Buffalo penalty. Then nothing on their next first down play. On 2nd and 10, Zach Wilson gets sacked by Shaq Lawson. Of course, it's another ex-Jet who sucked as a Jet coming back to kill us. Max Mitchell had his ugly green pants practically ripped off him as Lawson makes a beeline at Zach Wilson. Max Mitchell, how could he have been so good against Max Crosby and so freaking pathetic in this game? He was horrible. He reminded me of Wayne Hunter from back in the day. And so now it's a 3rd and 20. Of course, nothing comes from third down. The Jets' futile offense shows up just as we expected it to. They punt. Play number 2, 4:36 to go in the first quarter. Jets are down 6-0. They have the ball, a 1st and 10 on their own 48-yard line. They try a pitch back to Breecehall, and Lawson blows by Mitchell again to slow him down just a little bit, just to give Breece that just little step of hesitation to break up his rhythm. Breece then gets knocked down to the ground for a loss of 3 yards by several Bills defenders. After that comes the sack for a loss of 6, where Becton hurts his ankle, goes out for the game, and in comes Carter Warren. If Breece doesn't get knocked back for those 3 yards, who knows? Maybe they run a different play in that spot. You never know. So that costs the Jets their left tackle. Another failed drive. The Bills then get another field goal for a 9-0 lead. And then we go to play number 3, and this was it for me. This 2-play sequence. This goes back to the drive I mentioned earlier. It's the first drive of the second half for Buffalo. They have the ball. They're up 16-6, but the Jets had a little bit of momentum going into halftime. On 2nd and 6 from the Jets' 33, so the Bills have been moving the ball a little bit, willmcdonald, has this amazing run stop on Ty Johnson, explodes into the backfield, knocks him down for a loss of 6. His best defensive play as a Jet in my mind. Now, it's 3rd and 12 from the Jets' 39. That's on the periphery of field goal range in all likelihood. If the Jets get a stop here, Buffalo probably has to punt. Allen throws a short pass to Stephon Diggs, who gets by Adrian Amos, who had to play for Tony Adams, who also got hurt, and he gets 11 yards. Now it's just 4th and 1. The Bills go for it, and then Johnson, in that play I mentioned, for 28 yards, takes it to the house. That absolute no-good, talentless step kills it. If the Jets weren't dead already, this slammed the damn casket shut. On the game, on division hopes, on the playoffs, on the 2023 season. And now Miami on Friday. It's a standalone game. I don't even know if I could bear to watch. And if I didn't have this channel, if I wasn't doing this content, I probably wouldn't do that. I'd actually try to think of some things to be thankful for, being that it is the Thanksgiving season. But with this tight of a turnaround, count on a 45-3 Dolphins ass-kicking of the Jets. But I do want to say this. A lot of people are going to scream about the quarterback, about Joe Douglas. That's what I'm already seeing right now. I want to say something to the critics of Joe Douglas. I'm getting worried about these people because here's what I'm scared about. To me, Joe Douglas is the best general manager the Jets have ever had. Go back through the history. If you look at draft picks, trades, keeping players, all of that kind of stuff, to me, Douglas is the best the Jets have ever had. But this owner has a tendency to make these rash decisions in response to a fan base that, let's be honest, can get a little bit irrational at times, especially after seeing, so much in football. But I'm worried that he listens too much to the fans, because the fans will say anything in the heat of the moment, and I'm certainly guilty of it from time to time. But again, I go back to the Zach Wilson pick in 2021. Who was he supposed to pick? Especially a quarterback. Trey Lance, how's he doing? Justin Fields, please, he's a glorified running back. Mac Jones, enough said. Kyle Trask, Davis Mills, who's the great quarterback from that class that Joe Douglas could have drafted in that spot? I mean, you want to go outside quarterback? Yes, they could have had Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle. They got Garrett Wilson the next year. They could have had Patrick Surtain. They got Saucegardner the next year. They had already drafted mekhibecton the prior year. They weren't going with a tackle like Rashawn Slater in back-to-back years. Micah Parsons would have been amazing, but I think he's in a situation that best utilizes his talent in that 3-4 defense. Now, yes, you can absolutely make the criticism, and it's well-earned, that he should have looked to bring in another quarterback, especially in the middle of this season, so that Zach Wilson would not have been in a position to lead this team, because this should have been a redshirt year for him. Whether it was trading for Josh Dobbs, whether it was signing a Carson Wentz, none of that happened. Instead, he signed Trevor Siemian, who can't get off the practice squad. But I just don't have any patience right now for blowing everything up right now, cleaning out every coach, every scout, and every executive. Because this organization has been a model of instability for years. Ever since Tannenbaum and Rex both were gone, it has been turnover after turnover after turnover. And to me, I'm sorry, I do want to see Robert Saleh, even though I have my doubts about him. I feel like he should get a season with a quarterback not named Zach Wilson for a season. I don't think that's asking too much. And Joe Douglas has still done a lot of things right. You know what? Every general manager has done a lot of things right and a lot of things wrong. But I'm still willing to roll the dice with him. I'm not turning everything over at this point or during this offseason. It would be rash. It'd be begging for a pound of flesh. And then who are you bringing in? Who's the great executive out there that can't miss? Please tell me. Put it right down there in the comments. I'd love to know. Who's the general manager that can't miss? Even John Lynch, as great as he is with San Francisco, he traded for Trey Lance. Bill Belichick drafted Mac Jones. The Jets hoodwinked Seattle several times in trades. So for all these people who want to kill Joe Douglas, stop. Criticism is one thing, but calling for a complete overhaul of the front office is just, in my mind, I'm sorry, it's ignorant. It's ignorant, it's rash, and there is absolutely no reason to believe that that's going to help this franchise. But again, just a frustrating, disgusting 3 hours. Thank God I had good company with the Virginia Jets fans as we basically, just somehow fought our way through this. But, oh my God, the only good thing is I didn't have to deal with any other Bills fans in the restaurant. That's about the only good thing that we had going for us. But you can stick a fork in this team right now on November 19th as I'm recording. You're looking at probably a 6-11 season at this point. Probably another top 10 draft pick in the first round. And I'll tell you this, McDonald shows some hope. Joe Timmons been a very good draft pick. I think he will be. This is a plug-and-play scenario for this offense. Whether it's a wide receiver, whether it's an offensive lineman. Outside of that, I don't want to hear about any other scenario. Do not talk to me about a quarterback in the first round because he's not going to be playing next year. I don't want to hear it. And the way that Wilson's worked out, what confidence do I have that this coaching staff can develop a quarterback from scratch? I don't, especially if Nathaniel Hackett is still offensive coordinator. So build around Rodgers. Give him another piece, something that Green Bay practically didn't do for the last decade that he was there. Give him another lineman. Make the trade for Devontae Adams. Do what you have to do. But I cannot bear to watch this offense. We deserve better as Jets fans than to watch probably the worst offense that we have ever watched as Jets fans in the entire history of this just woebegone, disgusting football franchise. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll be here Wednesday night. I believe either Wednesday or Tuesday. Depends on Thanksgiving plans. But I will definitely put the link up probably a day in advance for the live show. I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.